In the middle of a vast desert, an ancient lamp lay hidden beneath the sands, untouched for centuries. One fateful day, a man named Mark, a wandering scientist with an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, stumbled upon it. He was weary from hours of walking under the scorching sun when a glimmer caught his eye. Kneeling down, he brushed off the dust and sand, revealing the shining lamp underneath. He held it in his hands, curiosity overtaking his exhaustion. Without thinking much of it, Mark rubbed the lamp. To his astonishment, the air around him crackled with a strange energy. A brilliant swirl of light erupted from the lamp, and before him appeared a beautiful genie, her form radiating with an otherworldly glow. Her golden eyes gleamed as she stretched, finally free from her prison after what seemed like an eternity. She introduced herself as Zara, a powerful genie who could grant him 3 wishes. Mark was intrigued but not surprised by her appearance, as he had always been a believer in the strange and mysterious. Zara, ready to fulfill her ancient duty, awaited his first wish. Normally, people asked for riches, power, or love, but Mark's mind was wired differently. With a sly smile, he spoke. "For my first wish, I want to see beyond this world, beyond time and space, beyond the universe itself." Zara's expression changed. Her golden eyes widened in surprise. In all her years, she had granted wishes that played on human desires, but no one had ever requested something so profound, so extraordinary. She hesitated, her mind racing. Could she even grant such a wish? And if she did, what would the consequences be? "I have the power to give you anything your heart desires," she began slowly. "But are you sure this is what you want? This wish might take you to places you cannot return from." Mark nodded confidently. "I'm certain," he replied. "I've spent my whole life searching for answers. What lies beyond our understanding, beyond what the human mind can grasp. This is what I've always wanted." Zara closed her eyes, and the air around them began to hum with power. She raised her hands, and a portal started to form in front of them. It wasn't just a door to another place. It was a gateway to the very fabric of existence, to realities unseen by any living being. Mark stepped forward without hesitation, ready to cross the threshold into the unknown. As he passed through, Mark found himself in a dimension where time stood still, and the very essence of reality shifted and twisted. He was no longer in the world he knew. Instead, he floated among stars, galaxies, and strange beings that defied all logic. It was beautiful, terrifying, and overwhelming all at once. The sheer scale of the universe, the infinite possibilities that existed beyond human comprehension, were now laid bare before him. But as Mark drifted through this cosmic expanse, something unexpected began to happen. His human mind, though curious and intelligent, wasn't built to withstand the weight of such knowledge. The more he saw, the more his sense of self started to fragment. Memories from his life on Earth began to blur, and the concepts of time and space no longer made sense. He tried to grasp at his thoughts, but they slipped through his fingers like sand. Zara, watching from the other side of the portal, sensed the disturbance. She had warned him, but she had never expected it to happen so quickly. Mark's mind was unraveling under the immense pressure of the knowledge he sought. She quickly intervened, pulling him back through the portal before he could lose himself completely. When Mark returned to the desert, he collapsed onto the sand, gasping for air. His body was back, but his mind was in chaos. For the first time, he felt fear. Zara knelt beside him, her face filled with concern. "I warned you," she said softly. "There are some things the human mind is not meant to understand." Mark, still reeling from the experience, looked up at her. "I didn't think it would be so intense," he admitted, his voice shaking. He had seen the universe, but the experience had nearly destroyed him. "What now?" he asked. Zara smiled gently. "You still have 2 more wishes." "You said, me too," ChatGPT said. ChatGPT Mark, now humbled by his experience, sat in silence for a moment. He had tasted the infinite, but the cost had been higher than he'd anticipated. As he regained his composure, he realized that despite the overwhelming nature of his first wish, there were still 2 more to go. His mind, though shaken, was still filled with curiosity. Zara stood calmly by his side, her golden eyes reflecting the eternal wisdom she possessed. "You've seen what few have dared to ask for," she said softly. "But remember, your next wishes must be chosen carefully. Not all power can be tamed." Mark nodded, still processing everything. "I understand now," he said, his voice quieter, more thoughtful than before. "But I can't stop here. I've spent my whole life searching for something bigger than myself. I need to know more, but this time I want to stay grounded." Zara tilted her head, intrigued by what his next request might be. "And what will your second wish be?" she asked. Mark, thinking carefully, spoke again. "For my second wish, I want to understand the true nature of human emotion, the depths of love, hate, joy, and sorrow. I want to experience them in a way no one else ever has." Zara's expression softened, almost with a hint of sadness. Human emotions were complex, often chaotic and unpredictable. She had witnessed them countless times in the souls she encountered. "You wish to dive into the essence of human emotion?" she asked gently. "Be warned, it is a journey that can change you forever." Mark's eyes were resolute. "Yes, that's what I wish for." Zara closed her eyes and raised her hands once again. This time, instead of a portal, a glowing orb appeared between her palms. It shimmered with colors, red for passion, blue for sorrow, green for envy, and every shade in between. Slowly, the orb floated towards Mark, and as it touched his chest, it dissolved into him, sending waves of emotions flooding through his mind and body. In an instant, Mark felt everything. Joy so intense that it brought tears to his eyes, sorrow so deep that it felt like his heart would break. Love so overwhelming it made him feel alive, and anger so fierce it burned through him. He was no longer just experiencing emotions, he was becoming them. The intensity of it all was staggering. He felt the love of a mother for her child, the heartbreak of a lost lover, the fury of betrayal, and the ecstasy of reunion. Mark was not just living through his own emotions, but through the emotions of every human being who had ever lived. It was a tidal wave of feeling that washed over him, one moment leaving him in pure bliss, the next drowning him in sorrow. Zara watched quietly, knowing this wish, too, had a price. Human emotions, while powerful and beautiful, were also dangerous. They could lift someone up to the heavens, or they could crush them into the ground. As the emotions surged through Mark, he began to lose his grip on reality once again. The emotions, too strong for any one person to hold, began to tear at his mind. He screamed, clutching his chest, as the intensity of it all threatened to overwhelm him. Zara stepped forward and placed a hand on his shoulder. With a gentle touch, she calmed the storm within him, pulling him back from the brink of emotional collapse. Mark fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "I felt everything," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "Love, pain, joy, grief. It's all so powerful, so uncontrollable. How do we, as humans, even bear it?" Zara knelt beside him, her eyes soft and understanding. "Humans are fragile and yet incredibly resilient," she replied. "You feel these emotions every day, though perhaps not as intensely as you just did. It's what makes you human, and it's also what can break you." Mark wiped his eyes, the experience leaving him emotionally drained. He now understood the vastness of human emotion, but he also realized that such intensity came with a heavy price. His first two wishes had given him knowledge, but they had also shown him his own limits. Zara stood, giving him a moment to collect himself. "You have one last wish, Mark," she said. "What will you choose?" Mark took a deep breath. He had ventured beyond the universe, felt the depth of human emotions, and nearly lost himself in both experiences. For his final wish, he knew he needed to make it count. He looked at Zara, her calm, eternal presence soothing. "For my final wish," he said slowly, "I want peace. I've seen the cosmos and felt the extremes of emotion, but now I just want peace within myself." Zara's expression softened, and for the first time since meeting her, she smiled, a genuine, warm smile. "A wise choice," she said. With a simple wave of her hand, a gentle breeze swept through the desert, carrying with it a sense of calm and serenity. Mark felt the tension in his body ease, the noise in his mind quieting. It wasn't an emptiness. It was a deep, profound peace. The chaos of the world, the confusion of his emotions, and the overwhelming questions of existence, all of it faded away. For the first time in his life, he felt truly at ease. Zara looked down at him, her golden eyes reflecting the wisdom of centuries. "You have found what many search for their entire lives," she said softly. "Treasure it." With that, Zara began to fade back into the lamp, her mission complete. Mark watched as she disappeared, feeling an immense gratitude for the journey she had taken him on. As he stood alone in the desert, the sun setting in the distance, Mark realized that while his wishes had taken him to the edge of the universe and the depths of his soul, the greatest gift of all was the peace he now carried within. The lamp, now empty, lay silent in the sand, waiting for the next soul to find it.